Welcome to Pious Podcast. I'm Reno.
I'm Father Dominic.
And I'm Stanley Thompson. Today on our show, we'll get to know more about our St. Mary's in-residence priest, Father Dominic, answer a question that some of our youth members want to know about our faith, then end with another positive quote from the Bible. So let's begin.
All right, we're going to start with 3 questions. The first one, what is your favorite thing about being a priest?
My favorite thing about being a priest is for the past 43 years, I think often about how many people I have come to know in a beautiful way over these many years. Families and newlyweds and parents and kids and children. It's amazing how people will allow you entry into your life, into their lives rather, so very quickly just because they know that you're their priest. And so I have come to enjoy scads and scads of all kinds of relationships and people and difficult moments as well as beautiful moments and happy moments in the lives of families and people. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, it's a great answer. I'm grateful to have you in my life too. You've been a big help.
Thank you.
All right, the second question. What do you like to do in your spare time?
I don't have any spare time. I'm sure that's the short answer, and it's the real one, but very seldom do I have what we would call spare time. And if I do, it's usually with my family at different times throughout the year.
Well, I thought I'd ask because I know Father Paul likes to do golf and stuff like that, so...
Oh, does Father Paul like to do golf?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I just learned the other day.
Really?
So surprisingly.
No, I never learned golf, and I never learned... I mean, I played sports when I was a kid and whatnot, but when I became a priest, the older priests were the ones who went out and played golf. And now that I'm the older priest, the younger priests are still out there playing, so I never got a chance. But on the other hand, that's the way that it just rolled out, that's all.
That's a good answer. All right, third question. What was the most fulfilling moment in your career so far?
The most fulfilling moment would be when I got to meet personally Pope St. John Paul II in Rome about 30 years ago with the bishop here in Camden at the time. And I sat around with him and the bishop for about 20 minutes, and he was in his library because of a visit that we were making there. And it was like talking just to another priest. Very, very comfortable, very beautiful, he wanted to know all about me and my family. He thought that I was entirely too young. At the time, I was 35. We laughed a lot. We laughed about my brother, who was the last one living at home, and he thought he might be a priest too. And I said no, because my mother always told me that there were phone calls like the litany of the saints every night. Mary called, Louise called, Sharon called, and he laughed and he said, from all those girls, God will show them the right one to marry. And he did. And I repeated that on their wedding day. But I would say that was the most fulfilling for me.
All right, now we'll get into our next segment called We Want to Know. This is where anybody can send us a question about our faith. Check the podcast description for the submission link if you have any questions. So today's question is, why do we have the cross as a symbol of Jesus? Doesn't that also symbolize death?
Well, it does. It symbolizes death. As a matter of fact, before we started this podcast, I saw a chain around your neck, Reno, and I didn't see what was on the end of it, and it's a cross. You wear a cross, a crucifix. That's beautiful. I wish more people would do that. The cross has become for us a symbol of Jesus Christ himself. It's the sign of death, yes, and by that death, we believe that he rose to eternal life and gave us eternal life. So even though it's a symbol of crucifixion and torture, it ultimately becomes the source or the symbol of victory because he's not on the cross anymore. He's risen from the dead. Sometimes we wear it with him on the cross to remember what he did for us, but the cross was empty after Good Friday, and the resurrection showed that the tomb was empty. So it's a symbol that's meant to tell us that we have eternal life, the possibility of eternal life, by the way that we live this life here on earth. But it's a good question. But it's not a negative symbol. Some people will see it that way, but others who believe, we know what the rest of that story is, that it's not just the death, it's the resurrection.
And I'd like to add something personally. At school, around Easter time, they got the cross. I go to a Catholic school, and they had everyone write something on a Post-it note, something they needed help with. And then at the end of the Mass, we put a Post-it note on the cross. So leaving it to God, handing it over.
Put it on the cross of Christ.
Yeah, and leaving the problem there. And I know the question was to you, but another way I think that kind of symbolizes.
Yeah. Where do you go to school?
St. Augustine.
Oh, the prep.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I used to be stationed in Violence, so I know the prep well. And I used to go there and help with confessions sometimes with the kids. That's a great school.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right, thank you for that. Before we finish, we have 2 positive and encouraging quotes from the Bible.
Hi, I'm Anabelle, and here's today's Bible verse. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. Meaning, if you trust in God, your prayers will be answered. Iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens another. Meaning, one person can encourage the other.
All right, thanks for being with us, Father Dominic. I'm Reno, and thanks for listening to Pious Podcast.